Okay, hello everyone. Today, excuse me, is Wednesday, April the 12th. Golly, we're already almost halfway through April.
Wow.
Oh, this time is really it marches on, I tell you. It's a good thing we don't have to see time. Fast. Well, we're gonna continue our studies in A Course in Miracles. We're still in chapter 2, separation and the atonement. We are in section 7, cause and effect, and we will be reading from paragraph 7 today. Would anyone like to start us off in prayer? Okay, I will. Let's just center ourselves. And let's just imagine that we are standing inside of an iridescent bubble. This bubble is light, and it allows us to float all throughout time, all throughout the universe, and deep within Source. And as we allow ourselves to just drift and float without any hesitation, any drawbacks, no fear, we know that the bubble that we are in is Source. The essence of Source envelopes us, merges with us, is us, and we are Source. There is only one that we can see. So when you see the Father, we see ourselves. And as we hold tight in this awareness, we are so grateful for the opportunity to come together today to study A Course in Miracles, to help allow this to broaden our perspective on spiritual awareness. And we can make it our truth if we are so inclined, but we can be inquisitive about it. We can look within it. We can search it and see what fits us for now and what we might have to, put away for later. So with this, we say, we are so grateful. We have so much understanding. We have so much interest in a way of delving and experimenting with what we learn and who we are. And as we continue in this awareness, we release the love, the graciousness, the authority, the peace, the presence that is within us, because we overflow with it. And as we release it, not only within our own consciousness and our physical bodies and our physical environments, we also allow this into our community, in our nation, in our country, and in our world. And with that, we say, and so it is.
And so it is.
So Harriet, would you like to read the paragraph?
Yes, I can. And I'm going on camera. And if I get one of those messages, I'm going to go off.
Okay.
Okay. As was already mentioned, we're still in chapter 2, but winding down. Chapter 2, the separation and the atonement. Section 7, cause and effect. And paragraph 7, the last paragraph of this section. I have briefly spoken about readiness, but some additional points might be helpful here. Readiness is only the prerequisite for accomplishment. The two should not be confused. As soon as a state of readiness occurs, there is usually some degree of desire to accomplish, but it is by no means necessarily undivided. The state does not imply more than a potential for a change of mind. Confidence cannot develop fully unless mastery has been accomplished. We have already attempted to correct the fundamental error that fear can be mastered, and have emphasized that the only real mastery is through love. Readiness is only the beginning of confidence. You may think this implies that an enormous amount of time is necessary between readiness and mastery. But let me remind you that time and space are under my control. I have already briefly spoken about readiness. And what is readiness?
Yeah, I can say I don't remember.
Well,
I don't remember talking about readiness.
yeah, we did, but I wrote it down, and let me look and see if I can find what I had written down as far as readiness is concerned. Did you have definition at your fingertips?
No.
Either one of you? Let me see. You know, we know the definition of these words, but I just like looking up the official definition, the one that's in the dictionary.
Mhm.
And my dictionary says the state of being fully prepared for something.
Okay.
Being fully prepared, willingness to do something.
Okay.
And I think with the course, it's dealing more with the willingness as opposed to that first definition, the state of being fully prepared for something. Because sometimes we may be and we may not be fully prepared, but are we willing to carry out whatever the task is that is before us?
Yeah. And the thing is that, you can only be so much prepared.
Exactly.
So.
Exactly. Because in this world. No, go ahead. Go ahead.
Oh, no, I was just going to say, we can only be so much prepared. So, of course, I like that it says the state of being fully prepared.
Mm-hmm.
Because you can have all of everything that you have, but if you have that sense of awareness, that sense of readiness, that sense that, this thing is going to be accomplished, even if, the monkey gets in the wrench, you can still, shift, you can MacGyver it,
Mm-hmm. Right. And sometimes we think we're fully prepared, but like you said, somebody will throw a monkey wrench in there and just upset the whole apple cart, and you have to gather them all up and start all over again sometimes.
Or see where that leads you, because now we're understanding that readiness. Let's see. Readiness is that state of being fully prepared.
Right.
Mhm.
And what was the second one? The state of being fully prepared and the awareness,
Willingness to
the
do something.
willingness.
Willingness,
Yeah.
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 That's really
So when
powerful.
And I think, as far as the course is concerned, I think it has more to do with willingness to do something. We may or may not be prepared. And sometimes, as you mentioned earlier, Penny, when that monkey wrench is thrown in there, it probably was thrown in there for a purpose, because I don't believe anything just happens out of the blue. There is always a reason. And years ago, I developed the habit, if you want, for lack of a better word, of
Okay.
whenever anything, that monkey wrench was thrown into whatever the cart was at that particular time,
Okay.
rather than say, have a pity party and say, why me? I began to develop the habit of saying, well, what am I supposed to learn from this? What is it I am supposed to get from this?
That was good.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And when I begin to look at things in that manner, no matter how devastating the incident might appear, to me, it wasn't as bad as it might have seemed.
Mm-hmm. 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 And that's why I think number 2, readiness is only the prerequisite prerequisite for accomplishment. So that lets you know that, yes, when you're ready for something, you are prepared to accomplish it.
Mhm, mhm. Whether you have the tools necessary or not.
Yeah, and we can have the a certain amount of, like, we can set a goal, how much time we want to, but it's just like anything else. We know that once we believe it's accomplished, it's already done.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
It's already done. So all we really have to do is just really go through the motions. We have to go through it in time.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. And right here it says the two should not be confused. And I think that that's important too, because a lot of times, I have been a procrastinator for a long time in my life. And sometimes procrastination has helped me. It has benefited me. And sometimes it has, stalled me. But a lot of times when I am envisioning it already done, then the work of it seems to maximize. It seems to get really, really big or overwhelming or something. And, even if I'm taking bite-sized pieces, it can still be, or it can still appear to me to, I don't know, to drag and to hold me up. And then I don't know, I get bored or anxious or something comes along with that state of mind. So I think that that's part of that confusion, because I'm confusing the two. Just because I'm ready for it and I see it and I know it's already done, it's already done in the realm of higher consciousness.
Okay, that's good.
It's not necessarily done right here.
Right.
Right.
Yeah. In this third dimension, there might be some blood, sweat, and tears associated with that manifestation.
That's right.
Yeah.
And the other day I was thinking about that, because you talk about you're a procrastinator, I'm a procrastinator. And the other day, I began to think seriously about this whole idea of procrastination. And one of the thoughts that crossed my mind, or that was revealed to me, is that I have a tendency, and I know this about myself, I have a tendency to look at the big picture. And when you look at the big picture and you think about what you need to do to get to the goal of what that big picture is, instead of taking it one small step at a time and do, what is right in front of you and stop looking beyond. In other words, we learn to need, I do anyway, need to learn to be in the here and now. What do I need to do right at this moment in order to get to over there?
Right.
And I have found that when I take on that attitude, for lack of a better word, when I'm getting ready to do something, or when I set my mind to do something, or have a goal in mind to accomplish something, when I take that being in the here and now, that one small step, it almost seems like I have accomplished a lot more, even though it might be just a small thing. But it's that small thing. I have gotten that out of the way. Now let's move on to the next step, kind of thing. And in doing that, the job doesn't seem so overwhelming, because when you look at the big picture, it can be overwhelming.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah. Any thoughts for us?
I'm just listening to this because I can agree with what everyone is saying, because it's happening in my life as we speak today.
Okay. Number 4 is, as soon as a state of readiness occurs, there is usually some degree of desire to accomplish, but it is by no means necessarily undivided. And that's just what we were talking about. There's, we already have that degree of desire to accomplish it, but but it is by no means necessarily undivided. So we're seeing it. We might be seeing the big picture, or seeing what we think the big picture should look like. And a lot of times that too can cause us to can cause a snag, because if in my mind I'm seeing aqua, but what's really coming out is puce, I'm going to say, golly, did I do something wrong? Or this is not working right? Or instead of having patience, and I throw my hands up, and move on to something else, or do something else. But especially when we're working on a spiritual life, we have to remember that a lot of the times that the things that are coming up in our lives are some things that are from our unconscious, or some realm of thought that we may have repressed. So we're not going to see what we're looking for right now. We're going to see everything all the other stuff that needs to be seen along with it, and we have to be, I think, prepared. That's another good, that's the right word. We have to be ready to see what it is that we need to see. If I haven't forgiven, I was just thinking about something the other day. it was a thought that came up that happened 40 years ago.
Mm,
And at that moment,
wow.
I was right there in the moment of the anger, the frustration.
Mhm.
I'm walking through the house cussing these people out.
Mm,
you know, from
mhm.
40 years ago, as opposed to um um seeing, okay, well, this was a portion of unforgiveness that I haven't reached yet.
Right.
And why haven't I reached this?
Mhm.
I thought that all that was over.
Right.
But
Mhm.
here's something that comes up, and I'm right back in that moment again.
Right.
So, that gave me the put me back in the mindset of, wait a minute, all of this is over, done with, forgiven,
Mhm.
forgotten. I really don't own this pain anymore.
Mhm.
Right.
I don't own this hurt. I don't own this anger. So I'm not going
Mhm.
to accept it right now in this moment. So
Okay.
it took me coaching myself out of that.
Mhm.
Gotcha.
Yeah. And I can fully relate to what you're talking about. And my question is, I don't want to use the word Satan or the devil, but is it that ego self from way back when that causes that kind of what do you want to call it? Feeling?
I think it's human nature to have those feelings. I think it's just human nature to have those feelings.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it's the devil. I just think it's this human nature that we all have. Sometimes everything's
Yeah.
not always rosy
Mm-hmm.
Right,
as we would like them to be.
right.
Mm-hmm.
And
And no. Well, I was gonna say that I think that um it is just our if we are trying to cleanse every aspect of negativity from our lives,
mhm,
and if there is a form of negativity there, it's going to reveal itself
Mhm.
because
mhm.
we're asking for it to be revealed. So, I can't say,
Okay.
um I think that a lot of times, and we often forget that spiritual growth has a lot to do with emotional and mental growth,
Mhm.
you
Mhm.
know,
Yes.
and those things are held in our bodies as memories. So our body will remember that. So if I'm, fasting or going through a new type of discipline or creating a new habit,
Mhm.
my body has to shift, and it
Mhm.
has to come out of its comfort zone, and it might shake loose something that I thought was already, healed, you
Right.
know.
Right. Right. And it could also be a situation where um that that thing comes to mind because perhaps it's preparing you for a similar situation that might be down
Yeah.
the road, so that
Oh,
when you
never
get
thought
to
about it like
that
that.
point, when you get to
Mhm.
that junction, you will handle it in a more spiritual manner.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah.
So
So.
it could be a warning flag, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah. And because we often have such a fear of negativity, we have a fear of evil, we have a fear of darkness. We're going to automatically assign it as the worst thing
Mhm,
first, you
mhm.
know.
Yeah,
you
but
know.
when you said that, it just brought to mind that I've had situations where I feared the worst. And because I did fear the worst, you kind of mentally prepare yourself to confront whatever it is that needs to be confronted. And then when when it's right there staring you in the face, it's not as bad as you thought it would be.
Mhm.
But it really helps it, to have this, to be on a spiritual path, because even if it is bad, badder than I thought that it was going, worse than I thought it was going to be, I already know that I'm not in it alone.
Exactly.
Spirit is right here with me. It's going to help me solve the situation. It's going to help me. It's going to help me grow in it. It's going to show me the lesson. It's going to help me heal. It's going to help me prosper.
Okay.
Exactly.
Well, I need to hear
that. And you're able to deal with it in a more civil and loving manner.
Yeah.
As well.
Okay, we can move on to number 5 if you all would like.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, the state does not imply more than a potential for a change of mind. The state does not imply more than a potential for a state of mind. Let me read 4 again. As soon as a state of readiness occurs, there is usually some degree of desire to accomplish, but it is by no means necessarily undivided. The state does not imply more than a potential for a change of mind. Yeah. Yeah, I can see that, because all we have is potentiality if if it's not manifest. If it's not manifested, all we have is potential.
Right.
Exactly. Yeah.
And and that's the thing. And sometimes we might get caught up in looking for the potential as real, mistaking the potential as real. I've been in a lot of those relationships. There's a lot of potential here. But we don't necessarily have to change our mind just because we see the potential of it. We can stay exactly where we are, lost, frightened, and confused. Or we're in this place where I'm comfortable. I have seen this thing before, and I'm gonna just grow up where, branches are trying to shoot out to the left and to the right, but I only want to go in one direction. So, if I'm not willing to change my mind, I can have as much potential. It can have all the potential of the world. Any thoughts?
I'm just listening to everything, because I can explain everything's happening in my life today as we speak.
Oh, wow. That's one of the things that I'm telling you about these classes, is that they are always right on time.
Yep. Yeah.
Harriet, you want to read number 6?
Okay. Confidence cannot develop fully until mastery has been accomplished. Confidence cannot develop fully until mastery has been accomplished.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we might have bravado. We might think that we can do it, we don't, but it's not real confidence. Where, like, I'm just going to use tying our shoes for an example. Now we are so confident in tying our shoes, we can we can feel when our shoe is loose,
Mhm. Mhm.
because we're so confident at the tightness of the shoestring around our, what's that, our arch. We
Right.
can feel when it's loose now, and all we do is just bend down and tie our shoe. We have that much confidence in the mastery of shoe tying.
Mhm.
But for the 5-year-old who is really trying to learn how to, because tying your shoe is a very complicated it's really complicated. We got different songs, bunny ears and wrap it around and loop it up and go through the hole and all of these things. And it's, it's really, it can be very complicated if that is something that is brand new for you.
Exactly. And sometimes learning to do something like that, it 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 all depends on the teacher and how they communicate with you. Because I remember when I was still in my youth, my father tried to teach my brother. My father was a scoutmaster, and he was trying to teach my brother some kind of knot, I think. And he went through all the steps. He demonstrated it. My brother tried to do it, and for some reason or other, he just couldn't get it. A friend of my father's came by. He knew what it was my father was trying to teach my brother. And he took my brother and he said, and demonstrated it, explained it. My brother picked it up, and voila, he was able to accomplish whatever it was, whatever that, tie that knot or whatever it was.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like, and I'm saying that to say sometimes, no matter how simplistic we think we are being in explaining something or trying to point something out to somebody, they just don't get it. And then there's somebody else that comes along and probably does the exact same thing you're doing. It could be their tone of voice. It could be, just some little thing that they do just a tad bit different. They're doing everything you're doing, but something in that process that they're going through is just a tad bit different that makes all the difference in the world as to whether, the student learns the lesson or not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And when you look at something, and we're feeling confident about it, it's okay to congratulate ourselves.
Yes.
It's okay to congratulate ourselves. It's okay to walk in that type of confidence.
Exactly. Exactly. And when we don't congratulate ourselves or give ourselves a pat on the back, what are we saying? I'm not that good. We're really putting ourselves down, and we shouldn't do that.
Yeah. Well, a lot of times, we have been taught that, in order to be humble,
Right.
you don't brag. But there's a difference in that too.
Exactly.
Confidence is different than arrogance. Right. But if you don't know the difference, you might mistake it to be the same thing.
Exactly.
Yeah, I can read number 7.
Okay.
Okay.
We have already attempted to correct the fundamental error that fear can be mastered, and have emphasized that only that the only real mastery is through love. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. And yeah, we really can't master fear.
Why would you want to?
I think that, I think that there are some schools that tell you to overcome your fears,
Mhm.
to become the master of your fear. But if you are, but that can prop up a new batch of fear.
Mhm.
If you are only just trying to, conquer and overcome the fear, as opposed to disciplining our thoughts so that fear doesn't occur.
Mhm. Mhm.
Hello?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Hello?
Yeah, we're here.
Do you
I
have any
was-
thoughts, Forrest? Forrest, can you hear us?
My phone, yeah, my phone just went off. I'm back.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
My phone just went off. I'm back.
Okay.
Oh, okay. Um,
Hello?
yeah,
Good.
we're here. Well,
Okay.
I was just thinking, because I was looking at that sentence. We have already attempted to correct the fundamental error that fear can be mastered.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I, my question is, why would we want to master fear? We want to conquer it,
Mhm.
We want to what?
conquer it, conquer our fears.
Well, isn't that the
Mhm.
same thing?
Hmm. You're probably right. I'm just not seeing it. To me, when you say you master something, that means that oh yeah, now that I think about it.
Yeah. Well, the
Yeah,
thing is that we don't have to be afraid of fear.
right.
We don't have to so we don't have to put any effort or energy into mastery or conquering or anything, because fear doesn't really exist. Oh,
Okay.
love is letting go of fear. Yeah, I mean, we don't have to do anything. All we have to do is to love.
That's right.
Yeah, when we and if we put all of our focus and energy into love, and that could be, anything, love anything. I love to paint, but for some odd reason I can't get hands right, and I got to have a competition, and now I'm afraid that somebody's going to see how I do hands. Well, if that becomes such a worry, then that worry becomes a fear. But if I just simply love to paint, and I don't care what nobody thinks of the way I do my hands, my hands are going to be beautiful, and
Mhm.
somebody will see them as beautiful,
Exactly.
because that's just how, I mean, that because we all have different aesthetics.
Mhm. Mhm. Exactly. And you know, when you're being creative, you don't, how do I phrase this? When you're being creative, what you're doing is putting your heart and soul into whatever it is you are creating.
Correct.
And whatever that thing is, to you it's beautiful. To someone else, it might not be that beautiful. But if they have an understanding of what it is you're trying to do, they will try, okay, what is he trying to say here? As opposed to looking at whether it's beautiful or not. Look at it from the perspective that he's given us a message. What is his message or her
Mhm.
message
Right.
Mhm,
in this creation?
mhm.
And that's what happens when I sing. I just get put my heart into it. So it is love, love,
Right.
expression of love. Mhm.
And it's obvious to me anyway.
Mhm. Yeah. And the more we master love, and we don't have to master the thing, we just have to master love.
Right,
Mhm.
Yeah.
right.
And um and then mastery takes on a completely different meaning, whereas it simply means very accomplished.
Mhm.
Whereas mastery of fear means to conquer fear, conquer, control, repress, delete, kill, you know. But when we think of mastering love, we think of strength and wholeness and unity and peace and presence and all of the other I guess and positive
Mhm.
positive ways of seeing how we master love.
Mhm.
So it is a different set of emotions.
Yeah. And when we do let go of those fears and the love, we let love take over, there's a feeling, I guess is the best word I can think of right now. There's a feeling of being, a feeling of comfort, a feeling of calmness, a feeling of satisfaction.
Mm-hmm.
All of that comes over us, that gives us the confidence to move forward with whatever it is that we're trying to accomplish at that particular time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
You want to read number 8?
Readiness is only the beginning of confidence. Wow. Readiness is only the beginning of confidence. Wow. That's powerful.
Can you read that one more time, please?
Readiness is only the beginning of confidence.
Okay. I needed that.
Good.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Isn't it wonderful how lessons come to us right at the right moment?
Right
Mm-hmm.
as we speak, this is exactly where I'm at today.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
That is.
Yeah. Yeah. And
And
no, go ahead.
go ahead.
Well, I was gonna say because it says like in line number 2, readiness is only the prerequisite for
For
accomplishment.
accomplishment.
And when we're thinking that you have to have, in order to have real accomplishment, you also have to have confidence. But when we're understanding that readiness, when we're ready for it, we're prepared, and that is something that you have to have. You have to have it first.
Exactly.
Because that's what a prerequisite is. It's something that
Right.
in order to ride this ride, you have to be this tall.
That's right.
So
Readiness is only the beginning of confidence. something, a thought just crossed my mind, and then it just got on that leaf and floated on down the stream. um, oh, I know what it was. It's that bravado that we have when confidence, bravado, whatever, that puts us in the right, shall I say, frame of mind, or yeah, to move ahead with whatever it is we're trying to accomplish, or towards the goal that we have in front of us. Yeah.
And when we when we understand that, and that's one of the things that I like about A Course in Miracles, because it breaks it down to each word. Each word means something. And
Exactly.
we have been taught critical thinking skills, and to understand active listening and all of those things. But if you are if you're still not prepared for the goal, if you're not prepared for the manifestation, you're going to continue to think that whatever it is that you think is the thing that is bringing on the confidence. But you could be in a definitely in a wrong place, but now you have confidence in the wrong thing. But
Right.
when we're ready and we understand that readiness is only the beginning of confidence, it's not confidence.
Right. Right.
So we don't have to be confident in the thing that we're starting. Yes, go ahead. I'm sorry.
And I was just going to say, and how emotionally you feel towards a thing. If it's, that's not going to help.
Right.
You have to be excited. You have to be, and when I say excited, I don't mean jumping up, but just feeling that certain feeling that you get deep down inside of you when you're getting ready to experience something. Say you're going on a trip, you're looking forward to the trip, and you're looking forward to it, that kind of excitement. And like I said, it's not the jumping up and shouting and all that other kind of stuff, but just that feeling of excitement.
Yeah. Number 9 says, you may think this implies that an enormous amount of time is necessary between readiness and mastery. But let me remind you that time and space are under my control.
I like that.
Yeah.
I needed that today too. Exactly what's going on with me today as we speak.
Sounds like this lesson was made for you today, Forrest.
Yeah,
it was
for you today.
It was.
Yeah.
Yeah, because when you and when we think about it, we are always so caught up in time. We really believe in time here. That such and such a thing has to be done at such and such a time. You got to pay this much amount of money, or else in this amount of time we will cut your lights out. Right. Whereas why? Why in some made up time limit that they have created, that we have created, why not, when we understand that time really time and space really are out of our control. Now we have done a lot to work within time and to work within space. But here again, as much as we think we have mastered time and space, we still have not.
No.
No,
Mm-mm.
no.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But I do think that, I think that, you may think this implies that an enormous amount of time is necessary between readiness and mastery. And that's not necessarily, it's not necessarily true. It could be.
Sometimes it just takes a snap of a finger, blink of an
Yeah.
eye, or
Yeah.
a minute second.
Yeah. Yeah. And
But think about a situation where your child is headed towards something that could be dangerous, and you grab them to save them from any kind of harm or danger. You know?
mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh.
There's no time in between that. If
No, you react, you do what is necessary to
Mhm.
be done, and then after it's all over and done with it, wow.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, I mean, I'm just going to use you for us as an example right here.
Okay.
You are there's like, I'm sure when you first started to sing, you had an idea that you wanted to be able to master all of the scales of I don't know what of the musical notes, all the music.
Yes, the notes. Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure whenever you started, say if you started at 7,
Mhm.
when you saw, if you saw yourself at 47, that seems like a long time.
Right.
Mhm.
It seems like it's a really long time, but looking back 40 years is really a short distance.
50 years.
Yeah.
Right.
So when we're seeing that it's not an enormous amount of time.
Right.
It's especially, I think especially if you love it.
Right.
Mhm,
I think
mhm.
especially if you love it. It's something that you love.
Mm-hmm.
There's, you don't even notice the time just kind of gets away from you.
Right.
That is so true.
But if you really don't like it and you have to be doing it, you
It's a
notice
drag.
every second.
Right.
It's a drag. It's a real drag. And 1 minute can seem like an hour.
Yes. And that's when and this is when and the under my control, we're understanding that as the Christ.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So when we give up our control of this has to be done at such a time, and I have to be in control of all of the space that's in between this time.
Mm-hmm.
Now if I give that up, give that to Christ, I have everything. I have the time that it's going to take. I have the space that I need.
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't and it's not my ego that is I guess what's the word I'm looking for, milking the confidence. It's not my ego. It's my wholeness and my oneness that is because I gave up that control to Christ. And when I gave up that control to Christ, then I get everything that I'm looking for.
Mhm.
Is that how you see that sentence, Harriet? How do you see it?
I think you're right on the mark with that, because and the thing that kind of brings it home, I guess is the best way to put it. Looking at that sentence, and then the section on the manual for teachers, today's or the lesson that we are on for today, if you want to call it that, is patience.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
You wanna
it
turn
just
that-
fits.
you can
It
turn to
just
that
fits
now.
right in, huh?
I said I can turn to that now if you want to.
Yeah.
Okay.
I just had to smile when you
Mm.
we're in the section on what qualities. No, that's not very good.
Mhm.
One of the characteristics of
Mhm.
God's teaching. Yeah. Patience.
Mhm. Exactly. And this is what
Mhm.
we need to have. We need to have patience, because
Patience.
if we are dealing with and I'm just going to say an entity, the Christ, if we're dealing with the Christ, that entity that is not in time, we can't restrict that energy to our sense of what time and space should look like.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Because there are some things that, personally, we can always set a goal, of course, and work within a work within space and time. But there are some things that can happen. Say, I have been told to put something in, to have a goal to accomplish. But if I'm caught up in, it's got to be done in this amount of time, and I only have this much space to do this thing in, now that's the thing that can cause me fear.
Exactly. Exactly. And if you focus on what it is you have to do, as opposed to watching the clock and thinking about how much you have to do, that doesn't do anything but hold you back.
Mm-hmm. But patience is the way through it, because
Exactly.
I can be patient while I'm letting Jesus handle it.
Exactly.
I can be
Exactly.
patient about that,
Mm-hmm.
because I know it's going to be done in time,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm going to have all of the space that I need.
Exactly. Exactly. Just do what you have to do, and you'll probably the time will fly by, and by the time when you have accomplished whatever it is you have set out to accomplish, it's going to be within the time frame, and sometimes you didn't need as much time as you thought you did.
Right. Mm-hmm. 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 And one of the things that while we're talking about this, the thought that came to my mind is that, Martin Luther King's speech, when he says, I might not get there when you get there.
I get chilled every time.
When we and like they say, when we heard the speech, we thought oh wow, this was such a fantastic speech. But we found out later on is that it was kind of like a go-to speech for him.
Mm-hmm.
He just went to that speech right at the right and perfect time.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, much of his dream has been accomplished, but it's not full.
Exactly.
You know, there's still a lot. So we also have to have patience to go along with, you know, especially a dream that's really that's huge like this, that includes
Mhm.
everybody, that everybody
Mhm.
has to chip in and work on.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And you know, when you talk about that whole movement, that civil rights movement, when you look back in history and you see what's uh, going on today, there have been things that have happened that kind of mark um, an anniversary, if you will, of
Mhm.
things. Because if I'm not mistaken, I'm thinking that it was Barack Obama's nomination for the presidency. I think that occurred on the anniversary of his speech, the I Have a Dream speech, the one he made in Washington,
Mhm.
you know, during that march. And there was something in the speech that kind of, where he was kind of you know, prophesying the fact that, you know, we are going to have a Black man in the White House.
Mhm.
You know, I'm, you know, little things that I have read and seen and heard over the years. I can't put it all together, you know, in a concise statement, but little things that have occurred over the years. And that's just one example of
Mhm.
things happening that have been predicted when you look back and see something that has been said or written or whatever, and then you look at what's going on right here and now. That was predicted way back when.
Mhm. Mhm.
And
Mhm.
sometimes when we stop and think about it, at times I think we all uh, are Nostradamuses, so
Oh,
to speak.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
Absolutely. But would you like to read Patience?
I was going to ask you that.
Oh, I can. I can.
Yeah, yeah.
Patience. Those who are certain of the outcome can afford to wait and wait without anxiety. Patience is natural to the teacher of God. All he sees is a certain outcome at a time perhaps unknown to him as yet, but not in doubt. The time will be right. Women, the time will be as right as is the answer. And this is true for everything that happens now or in the future. The past as well. I mean, pull this up a little bit. The past as well held no mistakes. Nothing did not serve to benefit the world, as well as him to whom it seemed to happen. I'll read that one again. Read 5 too.
Okay.
And this is true for everything that happens now or in the future. The past as well held no mistakes. Nothing that did not serve to benefit the world, as well as him to whom it seemed to happen. Perhaps it was not understood at the time. Even so, the teacher of God is willing to reconsider all his past decisions if they are causing pain to anyone. Patience is natural to those who trust. Sure of the ultimate interpretation of all things in time, no outcome already seen or yet to come can cause them fear. And I do agree with that.
Hmm.
That whole paragraph.
Yeah,
Because yeah, I mean, you know, if I, you know, most of the time we have anxiety is because we don't have patience about a thing. We don't know that this thing is going to
right,
actually happen, and we live in doubt about it.
right.
But if
And we need to erase those doubts.
yeah, Yeah, because I mean, even if what it is happens, and it happens, 2 years after what we wanted to happen, it still happened.
Exactly.
And if we allow ourselves the patience to see it all the way through, we really can enjoy the lesson. Even if it's a harsh lesson, we still can enjoy the lesson.
Always.
Yeah.
Always.
One thing I know for me, one thing I don't want to have to do is I don't want to have to do another lesson. If I got to do the lesson over again, oh my gosh.
No,
Oh my gosh.
that's the purpose of a lesson. You learn something, you go through something, you go through a storm, you go through whatever. And if you don't learn the lesson,
you're gonna go through it again.
Yeah, that exactly, until you're gonna keep doing it until you finally get it right.
Yeah. We have mastery over it.
Mm-hmm.
And it comes from us not having fear.
Exactly. Exactly.
Mm-hmm. And something that, I did get kind of stuck on 5 and 6. And this is true for everything that happens now or in the future. What was that? Okay. 4 was the time will be as right as the answer. And this is true for everything that happens now or in the future. The past as well held no mistakes. Nothing that did not serve to benefit the world as well as him to whom it seemed to happen. And I think that's just, I don't know, the language is kind of convoluted there.
You're right, but at the same time, it's saying exactly what we have in our conversation been saying. Yeah.
Yeah. Because if we're not seeing a mistake as a mistake, it might have been a mistake, but the mistake is the thing that made it good. And you know what the Bible says,
and that's
no
the
weapon
lesson
formed against me shall prosper.
That's
So
right.
this looks like a mistake, but actually it's going to benefit me in the end.
Exactly. Think about Joseph and how he, how his brothers treated him. I mean, that's a perfect example of something happening. And of course, the brothers were afraid. And when the revelation was made that they were coming to Joseph and in his early years, what was he doing? He was being arrogant and perhaps self-righteous when he was talking about his dreams and saying how his mother and father and his brothers were going to bow down to him. I mean, when we go through experiences or when we have visions or dreams or whatever they might be, it might look like one thing, but then when we actually go through the experience of what that dream was trying to point out to that dream or that vision was trying to point out to us, we better understand the situation. And I think we're better able to handle it with a little bit more confidence than perhaps if we had not had that vision or dream or whatever.
And number 8 says it too. Even so, the teacher of God is willing to reconsider all his past decisions if they are causing pain to anyone. And he gave a perfect example of Joseph. He knew he was the favorite. He was being a little brat, but he also was confident in what he was saying. He was confident already in his dreams. So it's sometimes you say some things and other people, because of their lack of confidence, find it offensive.
Or
Yeah.
envy.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. But if we see it as lack of confidence,
Mhm.
their lack of confidence, then they can't see what you're saying, because they don't have the faith in you, your aesthetic, or or anything, because they all they can see is lack, or they don't want to see the thing.
Exactly.
They don't want to see the thing that you're talking about.
Exactly. And
And
especially if it um puts you at a different level, you know, if it means, you're beneath me, or I'm beneath you, kind of
mhm,
thing.
yeah,
If,
but
if
that's
you
because
understand.
they don't have the confidence.
Exactly.
And sometimes if we don't have the confidence, we can say something that will cause someone pain, and we don't necessarily mean to. We don't have,
Right.
we might not actually have, the correct words to say that will not cause them pain. You
Right. Right.
know, I think that this is where patience comes in, because if I am patient enough in the lesson, I will take pride in where I am in the lesson,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and I do remember that everybody who's involved with me is involved in that lesson.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Because just your story of Joseph, because he didn't change much. He tricked them all. He didn't change much. He tricked them all. Now,
Right.
no.
Right. But in his youth, he was a little braggadocious. Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah. He was and probably, when you read something that somebody has written, and in this case, we're looking at the story of Joseph, um, the writer doesn't talk about the tone of voice that he used, the attitude that he had, all of that's left out.
Right.
And as a young man coming into his manhood, because I think when he had those dreams, he was in his mid to late teen. And so he was coming into his manhood, and I'm just as good as y'all, y'all go out there, y'all do all this other kind of bravado stuff. I can do it too, kind of thing. And he had this, I'm just as much a man as you are, but the writer does not convey that in telling the story about Joseph. On the other hand, time, and we have all experienced it. When we were younger, we went through certain things, and the way we looked at things and the way we expressed ourselves, we might have come across, being offensive to somebody, in the way we say things, or the way we um, act in certain situations. But as we get older, we become more mature, we become more conscious of the other person, and we do whatever it is we can to get our message across, but at the same time, try not to, as the thing said, try not to cause them any pain.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And number 9 says patience is natural to those who trust.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And That's why, I think that patience is something that we all have to overcome.
You better believe it.
You know, we all have a level of impatience,
Yes, you do.
And
the thing about it is you can learn patience from a child as much as you can from your contemporaries or from an older person.
Yeah. And that's no, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, and I think children teach us patience more than anybody else, because when we're dealing with a child and we're trying to teach them how to do something, we learn to be, even though we can perhaps do whatever it is we're trying to teach them to do, and probably a quarter of the time that it would take that child to do it. But that patience that we learn or that we have will allow us to give that child all the time that they need in order to accomplish whatever it is we're trying to teach them how to do.
Yeah. Yeah. I like it that it says patience is natural to the teacher of God. So, you do realize that the more faith you have, the more patience you have.
That's right. That is so right. Yeah.
If I'm not doubtful of anything, and then if I am doubtful, that's definitely a time to use my patience. Because why do I doubt this thing?
Exactly.
Forrest, you about to say something?
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, I was saying what I'm going through with this situation right now, all I have is patience, because whatever's going to come for the outcome, it's already planned. I just have to go through the process. So I'm having patience just to be at peace. And a friend of mine says, well, Forrest, why are you always so calm and so peaceful? I said, because I can't change the situation. I just have to go through the process. But whatever the process is going to happen, it's going to happen. So why do I going to get all caught up into, woe is me, or what's going to happen? Just because I had to just go with the process. So I'm having complete patience. So a friend of mine says, why am I so at peace with everything? I said, because why shouldn't I be?
Right.
Exactly. And when you yes, and when you lose patience like that, we hear you.
We can hear you, Forrest. Can you
hear me?
Yes.
Can you hear me now?
Can you hear us?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes. Yeah, she was.
What I was saying.
Go ahead.
I was saying I'm going through a situation right now. So a friend of mine says, Forrest, why are you so at peace with everything that's happening? I says, because why should I get caught up into whatever the process is going to happen? I just got to go through the process. So I'm not going to get caught up into negative thoughts about anything about the process.
Right.
So that's my patience.
Yeah. And there's no need to doubt.
Right.
Excuse me. There's no need to doubt that whatever it is we're going to see the outcome of it.
Right. And I know God has great favor in my life. So
exactly.
If he's giving me, if he's the favor for Forrest, guess what? He's going to favor on this one too.
Exactly.
And I'm already thanking him for the outcome.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And when you think about it, like we were talking about Nostradamus, and when we hear all the prophecies, prophecies scare the hell out of people. People really become afraid when they hear the prophecy about something that is going to happen in the future. And now that so they don't use, and I'm not going to say they, I'm going to say we still don't use the benefit of patience in that.
Say that again.
I said, patience scares people. I mean, not patience,
Mhm.
prophecy.
Prophecy. Yeah.
Prophecy scares
Right.
people.
Mhm.
People become very
Mhm.
afraid when you're saying something that is going to, that you have been seeing, going back to, Joseph, you know,
Uh-huh.
they were afraid of that prophecy.
Mhm.
Mhm.
It caused them fear. Fear harbors doubt. Doubt
Mhm.
harbors, a whole bunch of others, regret and envy, because that's
Mhm.
one of the things
Mhm.
that not only did he say, tell him his dream, he just simply told him his dream, but he told him his dream in his multicolored coat.
Wow.
You know, he
Wow.
was wearing a multicolored coat and they were working in the
Mhm.
field and he come tramping up and gonna talk about his dream while he's wearing his beautiful coat. So
Mhm.
when you hear something that causes you fear, you doubt, that causes you doubt, it causes you envy, it causes you a multitude of um emotions that are filled with lack. So when we have an opportunity to use patience in that place, if
Mhm.
somebody has, if somebody has made a prediction, there's always been a prediction out there, um, and people are, all we have to do is just be patient. We
Mhm.
can't run around with our chickens with our heads cut off because
Right.
we heard something. It is it is, we have an opportunity to um nurture our patience.
Mhm. Mhm.
Yeah, and that can help us grow and master love.
Exactly. Exactly.
Well, that's pretty much it for today. And anybody got any other thoughts or comments on the class today?
No, it's just been a great lesson and it's been so timely and so, I mean, everything just kind of fitted in together,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
fitted in perfectly.
yeah. It all tied in together. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we can do our roundtable real quick. Um, what did we get from today's class, and how can we apply it to our lives, or are we already applying it to our lives?
Well, looking back, um, mm, first of all, patience is something that I have had to, uh, I guess the best way to put it is a struggle. I have had I have not always been a very patient person, I'll put it that way.
Mm-hmm.
And the part of the lesson where we were talking about patience, it was just a reminder. And over the years, I have become more and more tolerant, more patient when things don't turn out. And for me, it was my children that taught me patience because I learned that, I have to be patient with them. If I'm going to teach them to survive in this life, I have to teach them and I have to give them the time to make their mistakes
Mm-hmm.
and let them know that, hey, you made a mistake. It's okay. Because I told them a long time when they were still young, before they, got into their teen years, I said, you do something, and if you do something and you know it's wrong, even before you do it, and you get in trouble with the law, hey, I ain't got nothing to do with it. But if you get into trouble not knowing, I'm behind you all the way.
Mhm.
But if you walk into a situation, know you shouldn't be there, know you're wrong, I ain't got nothing to do with you. And I told them this a long time ago. Unfortunately, they've been pretty good about, understanding that
Mhm.
edict that I laid down with them.
Yeah. 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 So I guess for me, one of the main things that that I got from the lesson today, I guess I would. Oh, of course, he dropped out and something like I forgot my thought. But anyway, one of the things that I did get from the lesson today is understanding, that there are different, I don't want to say levels because that's not the right word, but it's the closest thing that I can come up with right now. There are different levels of consciousness.
Mhm.
If
Well,
I
they
am,
are.
yeah, if I'm not understanding the difference between, what was it earlier? Uh
When I
mastery,
mastery and conquering.
mastery and conquering, or what was the first word? Uh had something to do with R.
I want to stop. I'm sorry, I'm back.
Okay.
Mhm.
Yeah, but readiness.
Yeah, readiness. Yeah.
If I am it's important to be able to see those different categories. It's important to
Mhm.
be able to see the different categories. Readiness is not necessarily accomplishment, but you need to be ready to in order to accomplish.
Exactly. Yeah.
Accomplishment is not um is not mastery,
Mhm.
but you need to be able you need to be able to um have an accomplishment of love in order to master love. But I shouldn't even be trying to master fear, you know
Exactly.
and so those things are, so and I kind of think like that anyway, but I haven't always been able to see how I fit into the picture. So now some of the things that I'm seeing to do is, just to do the follow through.
Mhm.
I'm a very intellectualized person. I think a lot. I'm very analytical, but I don't always necessarily work it out, do the work, the physical work of it. So I have a lot of knowledge, but I also have to use the knowledge to go along with it. So I think that's where I am.
Put the words into action.
Yeah. So that's where I am right now. So Forrest,
Okay.
what about you? What did you get from our class today, and how can you apply it to our life, to your life?
Well, I can apply everything in life that made me stronger for my meeting I have tomorrow. I'm going with much more confidence, knowing that I have faith, knowing that I'm at peace with everything. So what I've learned with patience is just to be patient and just go through the process and understanding whatever's going to happen, just let it happen. Be at peace
Right.
with it. That's what I've
Mm-hmm.
learned
Mhm.
from the class today.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah,
That's
cool beans.
beautiful. Yeah, that's beautiful.
Cool beans. Well, yeah, that's pretty much it for our class today. Um, and tomorrow we will have Forrest comes in at 11 for the
I am.
for I am from 11
Mhm.
to sometimes it runs us from either half an hour or 45 minutes to an hour. All account
Okay.
it all accounts to how deep we are into it. So
Okay.
please
Well,
join us.
see, here's the thing. Here's the thing too. So we're gonna start at 11. So let's say half an hour tomorrow because I've got to take my car thing, and I don't know. I might have to go pick up my friend a little earlier. So it may just be half an hour tomorrow. Is that okay?
Okay, yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
Okay.
That's fine. Yeah, yeah. So now, and we don't have anything necessarily for Thursday evening at from 7 to 7:30 because we finished that book. But we're just going to kind of jump on for a minute to see what we want to do next. So Akina has an idea for a book that she has an idea from a book. I think Harriet, you have an idea for a book, didn't you?
Did I? I don't
I
remember.
thought you said you did.
No.
Andre has an idea for a book, so we can just we're just gonna kind of come in and kind of choose what we want to do next.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
So what you're saying is tomorrow evening will be what, a brief?
Yeah, just be kind of brief, and because we're just going to be talking about what we want to do next and how
Okay.
we want to go about doing it.
Okay.
This Saturday, we're not going to have any activity on Saturday. That will be the 15th. My cousin wants to have a birthday party over here, so we're gonna have a birthday party. And
Nice.
Sunday, what do we normally do on Sunday? I think that's the
Is
third.
it the third Sunday?
I think
Is
that's
that Signs
yeah,
of Mine?
that's
If
the
it's the
Signs
third
of
Sunday,
Mine.
Signs
Yeah,
of Mine, yeah.
that's the Signs of Mine. So we'll be here for that Sunday from 2 to 4, Sunday the 16th. And then on Saturday the 22nd, we have Joy Tramuel, who's going to come in and she's going to talk about astral projecting. I put
Wow.
I put a little thing on our Facebook page, but for some reason I had 2 Facebook pages, but I couldn't find the main one, so I found the first one we had, and I posted it on that. So I don't know. I got to figure out how to find the other one, the main one that I used to work with, but I don't know. I couldn't find it, so go figure.
So there are 2 Facebook pages for Anna Haven or for you?
Yes, because
but usually when I pull it up, it's the one with the tree on it.
Right. I can't find the one with the tree on it. The one that I have, the one that I did is the one that has the lotus flower. That was the original one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I've never seen that one.
Yeah. Because I don't know, and I don't know. I don't know how to. I don't know how to do it. So But anyway, I went on and did it anyhow. So, but anyway, if what I will try to do is I will try to email the copies of her bio, Joy Trammell, her bio and her picture to all of us.
Okay.
So I'll try to figure out how to do that. But that's on April the 22nd from 2 to 4 p.m. Then she's going to be talking about astral travel, and I'm so excited about that.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that one.
Yeah, I think that's it, unless anybody else can think of anything else. Say that again for us.
I said I'll see you tomorrow.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Yeah, we're not quite finished yet. We got to say.
I'm sorry.
Yeah. How about you, Harriet? Do you have anything to say, to add?
Oh yeah. Subscribe, like, and comment on our YouTube page.
Okay.
Yes.
And our YouTube is Inner Haven, and it's a round green or green circle with a white eye in the middle.
Yes.
And when I say eye, the letter I, not the physical eye.
Yeah. Not an eyeball.
Yeah.
Yeah, the letter I. Yeah, so that's it. Would anyone like to close us out in prayer?
I can do that.
Okay, thank you.
Let us Close our eyes. Take in a full, deep, cleansing breath. And as we take in that deep cleansing breath, let us be grateful for the time that we've spent together this evening, discussing this Course in Miracles. And may the lessons that we learn, the things that we learn here, help us to learn to love and cherish our sisters and brothers. Look after them, take care of them, and treat our world so that when we leave this earth, we will leave it better than how we found it. And let us take this knowledge and understanding and use it wisely as we go through this life on this planet. And let us be grateful for all that we have, all that we will have, and all that we have been blessed with. And so it is.
And so it is. Hey, everybody, cool beans. Well, we will see you tomorrow morning.
Right.
Yes.
At 11.
Have a
Okay.
see you a beautiful night.
Okay, love you.
Love you all.
Love you too.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye
Love
now.
you too. Bye-bye.